They walked toward the bridge. Anastasia handed Richard her candle lamp. "Here," she said. "Thanks." Richard looked at the woman in leather. "Is there anything, really, to be scared of?" "Only the night on the bridge," she said. "The kind in armor?" "The kind that comes when day is over." Anastasia's hand sought Richard's. He held it tightly, her tiny hand in his. She smiled at him, squeezed his hand, and then they set foot on Night's Bridge, and Richard began to understand darkness. Darkness as something solid and real, so much more than a simple absence of light. He felt it touch his skin, questing, moving, exploring, gliding through his mind. It slipped into his lungs, behind his eyes, into his mouth. With each step they took, the light of the candle became dimmer. He realized the same thing was happening to the leather woman's flashlight. It felt not so much as if the lights were being turned down, but as if the darkness was being turned up. Richard blinked and opened his eyes on nothing, nothing but darkness, complete and utter. Sounds, a rustling, a squirming. Richard blinked, blinded by the night. The sounds were nastier, hungrier. Richard imagined he could hear voices, a horde of huge, misshapen trolls beneath the bridge. Something slithered past them in the dark. "What's that?" squeaked Anastasia. Her hand was shaking in his. "Hush," whispered the woman. "Don't attract its attention." "What's happening?" whispered Richard. "Darkness is happening," said the leather woman very quietly. "Night is happening. All the nightmares that have come out when the sun goes down, since the cave times, when we huddled together in fear for safety and for warmth, are happening. Now," she told them, "now is the time to be afraid of the dark." Richard knew that something was about to creep over his face. He closed his eyes. It made no difference to what he saw or felt. The night was complete. It was then that the hallucinations began. Welcome to the Gothic Bohemian Salon. I wanted to start something new, which is going to be a regular review of the books that I read once a year. This is one of the books that I read once a year. It's called Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. It was published in 1996, and it's probably one of the best books that he's written. It was originally a television program that aired on the BBC, and he was so, he liked the story a lot and decided to write a fictional novel of the story, as well as the screenplay for the film or the television program, because in a book you can show and do a lot of things that you can't do even now with our technology that we have and everything. You know, the production values that they had for the BBC at that time weren't as high as, you know, he might have wanted for some of the scenes and things, so he wrote this book. Now, this is a book that I read once a year because it's very complex and deep. It's about a young man who moves up to London from Scotland, Richard Mayhew. He has a boring, ordinary job, a fairly ordinary girlfriend, maybe a little neurotic, but besides that, you know, fine. Pretty ordinary, unexciting life, until one day when he rescues a young girl who he finds bleeding on the sidewalk. He takes her to his flat and helps her get cleaned up and kind of sends her on her way. Unfortunately, his interaction with this young lady takes him out of our normal world and puts him in the underworld. Now, the underworld is the world beneath London, what is called London Below, a secret subterranean labyrinth of vacated tube stations and sewer tunnels where people who have sort of fallen between the cracks live and owe fealty to various tribes and groups. So Richard basically ends up being invisible to people in London above and only visible to those in London below, and it's an extremely dangerous place. So he of course wants to regain his life in London above, so he goes down in search of Dor, who's the girl that he saved, to try to get his life back. So this book is complex, extremely well written. It's makes you think. It's very entertaining, and both the television series and the book are well worth adding to your collection permanently. He also did the Sandman comics, the Stardust book, which was also made into a film, or was made into a film, and American Gods, and several other things. So his work is quite good. If you haven't heard of him already, he's definitely somebody to check out. So this is our book of the book I read once a year for today, Neil Gaiman's Neverwhere. Thank you for joining me in the Gothic Bohemian Salon. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.